So, explain a little bit about why you're here today.
Well, I had been sleeping outside for quite some time, and then I had this attack, and I hooked back up. I had hooked back up with Megan Smith, who got me into a spot at a shelter in Pawtucket, St. Paul's, which is very small and not, doesn't have a lot of the violence and, other unsafe features of other shelters. After this, I started working with, working again with the Homeless Bill of Rights Committee. We decided to, because I'm still, even after this attack, having a difficult time trying to get, housing.
And I don't want to open old wounds for you. I mean, what exactly happened? I mean, walk me through January 2nd. What happened?
Well, I was sleeping generally in this Water Place Park area, either out on a bench. There are several spots out there that I would sleep. It was cold in winter, so there was not a lot of activity, but there was some. I like to sleep in places if I have to sleep outside, which is the only place I felt safe, unfortunately, sleeping. But it was cold, so I was in the tunnel. It was winter now. But there's light, there's cameras, and there's somewhat of foot traffic, so I felt relatively safe there.
Did you hear footsteps coming? Did you hear yelling?
What
happened before?
I heard there were other people sleeping in the tunnel that night as well. I wasn't with them, but they were down a little further. And I did hear people walking by. It was cold. I wasn't sleeping yet. I had my blanket over my head, to stay warm, and just so, because of the light, just to. Then somebody did walk by me and whispered in my ear, "You're not sleeping alone," which I'm not quite sure what that was supposed to mean. And then I felt some pressure on my hand, and then I felt something like air go by my face. I thought I was going to get punched because I knew somebody was still there, and I think I backed up, but I might have put my hand up. And then the person seemed to be gone. My hand felt funny. I pulled the blanket off my head, and there was just blood gushing out everywhere.
So the young man whispered in your ear and then stabbed you.
Yeah, basically that appears to be what happened. It had to be the person who said something to me. It was moments later that because I had that blanket over my head, did not see, and I have not seen the videotape of the event.
And you required surgery, correct?
Yes, I'm going to require physical therapy. Oops, I'm sorry. But because he got tendons, so I'm going to require a little bit of physical therapy on that. I don't know what it was motivated by, other than
And you're in a tough situation. I mean, with homelessness and everything like that. I mean, when you left the hospital, I mean, how hard was it? I mean, was it hard to kind of go back to that? Is that why you reached out to Megan? I mean, did you spend another night on the street after that?
No, I stayed on the street for another week and a half or so after this. I did see Megan. I called Detective O'Hara immediately the next day. After I got out of the hospital, it was early in the morning, and I just went over to Starbucks when they opened, and I called Detective O'Hara immediately because I had contact with him previously, and I had his card, and he looked up the case for me, and I think I already had touched base with Megan again, anyway, we got the ball rolling on getting me a spot at St. Paul's. I'm trying to work with the Victims' Compensation Fund to either get they have a $5,000 victims compass for relocation expenses. So I'm trying to either, get a hotel room for a little while and try to get a room in a house somewhere, or I'm working with Crossroads to get an apartment, and I'm waiting for an SSI application to be either awarded or denied. So I'm in the process. I do feel like I'm still, struggling with trying to, feel secure that when my shelter closes on the 20th, I'm not going to Crossroads. I'm not going to these other shelters. They're not safe places. I don't really want to go back sleeping on the street, but that will be my only choice.
And if you do go back, I mean, is there going to be some type of anxiety, or are you going to be fearful for being out on the street?
Well, I'll try to do the same thing that I have done and stay in places that have cameras are lit and have some pedestrian traffic. I don't want to have to do that. I don't feel I should have to do that. I feel I should be able to, or like I like to say, what Satan means for evil, God means for good. I wouldn't have access to the Victims' Compensation Fund had it not been for this, but I'm having trouble getting access to the Victims' Compensation Fund. I don't know why, to just, have some place to be, so I don't have to,
You said that sleeping on the street was one of the only places you felt safe. Has this changed in the way?
Huh?
So you had said before that sleeping on the street was one of the only places you felt safe, but has this changed the way you feel?
Well, now I feel safe nowhere, I mean, I felt relatively safe. I'm not, but I can sleep. I would sleep often through the night, on the street. I felt relatively safe. I felt safer, by myself. I didn't want to be around all of the, the crap that goes on in a lot of the shelters. There's a lot of violence sometimes, and a lot of theft, and a lot of, I had my belongings stolen from me numerous occasions on the street. I had to start all the way over from nothing, and get blankets again, and get, but, I would rather, be able to, have a place to stay. I'm working on it.
Why did you decide to come forward to share your story?
Because, just sheer frustration with the way the system works for some people and doesn't work for others. It's definitely broken. And, it's not like, you can't, get some things right, but, I think it's time to take a look at that, take a look at the way the system is working, especially with the affordable housing, the so-called affordable housing. It's very difficult, very difficult.
Thank you so much.